Hi, everyone. I'm Emily Toner, and welcome to this Medibank Live Better at Home self compassion meditation. So, what a year! It's hard to even comprehend or to even know where to begin. But it's definitely the case that we really have needed an extra lot of self compassion this year, and it's definitely not over yet. So, what is self compassion? Well, it's really just kindness directed inwards. And it's funny, but we can be so kind to all the people around us, and yet sometimes it can be incredibly difficult to be kind to ourselves. And if you're wondering what I mean by this, then just go back to the last time you really made a mistake in some way and really stuff something up and have a think about what the mind said to you at that point. So, for me personally, I can relate to having a really impressive inner critic. And I say this with confidence because I know that we all do. For some of us, it might be stronger than others, but most of us do have an inner critic of some kind. And it tends to be the voice that pops in when you've just made a big stuff up, you've done something, and the voice says, "You idiot. Why did you do that?" Over the course of this week, I can't tell you how many times I've noticed my inner critic. You're lazy, Emily. It's a good one. It likes to say that. That was a terrible video, Emily. Or you really should brush your hair, Emily. You don't look very good. Now, I can say all these things with a laugh because I'm getting better and better at noticing the inner critic and recognizing how ridiculous it is. And just as much as my inner critic, I'm also starting to practice to develop my inner self-compassion. And that voice says things like, "You're doing a good job, Emily. You're doing your best, Emily. You look fine, Emily." And interestingly enough, for most of us, we do actually need to train this part of ourselves to be in more balance with the inner critic. Our inner self has a negativity bias. It is a well-known bias in the psychological area. And it means that we are much more likely to think negative thoughts about ourselves than positive. And this is a bias that we need to address through meditation and mindfulness. So let's get into a meditation now, a brief one. We're going to practice training our mind in self-compassion. So when you're ready, I invite you to start by consciously taking 3 breaths. How is your breath today? How are you today? And as soon as you stop, you're probably going to notice your mind. Hello, mind. How are you today? And if you're having a bad day, that negativity bias might be dialed up quite high. If you're having a good day, it might be quite low. But regardless of what the mind is saying, when we practice meditation, we practice not being inside of our thoughts. We practice noticing our thoughts from a distance. So right now, I invite you to do your very best to zoom out on the mind and try and notice the last thought that ran through it. It can be hard to do, but do your very best to try and notice the last thought that you just had, or the last image that just went through your mind.